Hey guys! Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there you are! These two unique takes on nachos are incredible variations. They're perfect for a party or a potluck. Better yet, here's your perfect Fun Friday meal. Look no further for something different to do for Taco Tuesday or something to make with delicious Taco Tuesday leftovers you want to repurpose. Let's kick things off with a game-changing queso. No processed cheese here. We start with butter and onions and then we saute those till they're soft and translucent. Next, add the garlic and cook for just a minute or two. So next we're gonna add the salt, the cumin, the granulated onion, and cayenne for a nice depth of flavor. And then we're gonna add the flour to create a roux. And drum roll. Then introduce the magic duo, Rotel and evaporated milk. Bring everything to a simmer, gently adding the cheese just a little at a time. Don't get crazy and throw it all in at once. Real ingredients, real flavor, and just as silky and dreamy. Now that we have our silky queso, it's time to construct the Nacho Casserole. We do have a method to this madness. Start with a bed of queso. It's easier when it's hot. Then round chips in our trusty 9x13 pan. Cover the bottom with chips, but don't go crazy. No more than 2 layers. First tried this a couple of times with like the triangle tortilla chips, and I switched to these little round ones. I liked the way it covered the pan better. Pour on that queso generously, spreading it as evenly as you can. Next is the fajita meat layer, or meat of choice. Corn, black beans, and a sprinkle of Monterey Jack cheese for that gooey goodness. Next, repeat that process, because duh, more layers means more deliciousness. Our aim here, even coverage, especially with the cheese. Those chips that don't get covered completely end up hard and tough, and that is not the goal. I don't know about you, but nachos hold a special place in our hearts. Nachos are the life of a gathering, but normally everyone has to build them individually, and that's why this recipe is so good. Just serve and swerve. Sorry, I was looking for a word that rhymes. Dip and chip, scoop in. Oh, well, never mind. Time to bring it all together in the oven for that bubbling, cheesy perfection. In real time, this is when you can start on your dessert nacho recipe. After 25 minutes in the oven, our casserole comes out hot and bubbling, a mouth-watering masterpiece in its own right, and ready for those fresh toppings. It's yummy. It's got a little spice from the cayenne, which I like. It screams nachos. You got the cheese, you got the meat. I like the addition of like the beans and the corn. When you're sprinkling the cheese in between the layers, that you save most of it or the bigger portion of it on top, so like 1/3 of the Monterey Jack in between, and then like 2/3 on top. That way you cover up all the chips. It's nachos, play with it, customize it, make it your own, but make it. For a sweet ending, we have dessert nachos. They're the perfect blend of sweet and crispy, a delightful treat that's perfect for the family and can be a fun teaching moment for the kids. We start by creating a delicious crumb topping with flour, sugar, brown sugar, a pinch of salt, and of course, softened butter. Not cold, not melted. This crumbly, buttery goodness is going to add the perfect texture to this dish. First, use a fork to combine, and then get your hands in there. Form small crumbs by squeezing and breaking apart the mixture. Leave some pieces larger, while others should be fine and dusty. These variations in texture are perfect for those nachos. Now let's move on to our nacho chips. We're rolling out a 9-inch refrigerated pie crust, but feel free to make your own if you want or have time. I didn't. That is completely breaking on me. Doesn't want me to be great. Imperfections can be part of the cooking fun. Spread melted butter generously all over the top of your dough, which can add flavor, but more importantly, it's a way to adhere our generous sprinkle of cinnamon and sugar. This is the magic right here. Now grab a pizza cutter and make long strips with the dough. Then we're going to turn these strips into smaller nacho chips. Ding! Light bulb moment. This can be a teaching lesson for the kids, introducing them to the world of triangle shapes as they create their very own nacho chips. Place these chips on a separate line cookie tray and place both the nacho chips and our delightful crumb in the oven for 10 minutes. While they're baking, let's whip up some fresh whipped cream. Or Cool Whip, whatever you got. After the 10 minutes, our crumb is ready, but our nacho chips, they need a little extra love. Bake them for an additional 5 minutes until they're perfectly crispy. Oh yeah, don't forget to heat up about 3 tablespoons of caramel sauce for the extra indulgence. Now let's assemble the perfect dessert plate. Start with a layer of those cinnamon sugar nacho chips. Follow that with our apple pie filling. I know it's from the can, but again, that's all I had time for. And a nice drizzle of our heavenly caramel sauce. Then our irresistible crumb. Top it all off with a nice dollop of whipped cream. And if you're feeling extra indulgent, a little more caramel sauce. And there you have it. Dessert nachos with apple and crumble topping, a sweet treat that's not just delicious, but also a fantastic way to spend quality time in the kitchen. Now let's dive in and enjoy the fruits of our labor. So like nachos, you've got your chip, we've got a pie crust. For the meat, that's our apples. For the crumb, that's kind of like our extras, right? It's the beans, the corn. Caramel sauce is kind of like our salsa or pico that goes on it. And then the whipped topping is kind of like our sour cream. And the glaze that's on the apples is like the cheese. It just pulls it all together, gives it that whole gooiness. Remember, cooking is fun and brings family and friends together, so keep at it. Whether it's from a can or from scratch, you got this. See you next week. Bye. So you know, apple nachos. It's a thing.